and welcome to another Paper Crafting Tuesday. Today I'm building a card using this new gorgeous stamp set, and it is called White Rabbit. On a piece of watercolor paper large enough to fit the girl, stamp her in jet black archival ink. This image will be cut out, so it doesn't matter where you stamp. While the image is drying, I'm going to do the background. And for the background, I'm going to use distress stains on watercolor paper. This paper measures 5 by 5 inches. And I'm going to use peacock feathers, peeled paint, and forest moss distress stains. I'm going to start with peacock feathers. Oops. And I'm going to add the color, but not all the way to the edges. And I'm going 2/3 down. Then I'll add peel paint. And the last one, forest moss. And now I'm going to spritz wet water. And I'm going to let the colors run into each other. You can have fun with your background. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. Once you're satisfied with how the colors look, you're going to let that dry. While the background is drying, I'm going to use distress stains as well to color the girl. And I'm going to start with the dress, which will be with peel paint. So I'm just going to smash a bit of color onto the mat, and I'm going to use a water brush to pick up the color. I decided to use an acrylic block to act as a palette, just because I tend to move my paper onto my mat and I risk the chance of ruining my coloring. So I'm just transferring at this point all my colors. Okay, I have had to restamp and recolor the girl because the paper started pilling when I was doing the cheeks. And I also realized that the red for the heart was too Christmassy for me. So I'm going to do the hearts with blue, with the peacock feather color. And the only red that I will have are these two buttons. And that way it won't look so Christmassy. Yeah, I like this better. And I'm going to add the two red buttons with barn door. And now I'm going to do the cheeks. I'm going to take spun sugar again. And I've added some on my acrylic block here. So I'm going to give you a close-up of this. And I don't want to blend too much because I fear that it will spread out too much. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. I'm happy. I'm very afraid to create some more pilling on my paper, so I'm going to let that be. Before I cut around the image, I'm going to use a white gel pen, and I'm just going to add a touch in the eyes here, and I will also do the pearl necklace with tiny dots of white. I could use liquid pearls for this, but they're so tiny that if I use liquid pearl, I'm afraid I'm going to lose the definition or the stamped line. So I'm going to limit myself to this, but I will also add a bit of white on the frill of her sleeve. There we go. So I'm finished with the girl, and I'm going to go around with the scissors. In the meantime, I brought back my background, which has had time to dry. It got lighter as it dried, and I'm going to use a water mister to create some droplets of water. So at this point, I don't want a fine mist, so I'm holding the spray nozzle in between my fingers, and I'm just going to go halfway. And of course, the higher you do it, the smaller the drops will be. I'm going to let that react with the stain for a little bit, and I'm going to use a paper towel to remove the excess or the water. And look how cool this is. I love doing that. This is probably my favorite thing to do. For the next step, I'm using a piece of scrap paper to create a torn edge. Maybe that's too pronounced. Because I'm going to the grass and flower stamp, but it has a very sharp edge at the bottom and I don't want that. So I'm going to use that paper to mask off that sharp edge. And I'm going to stamp with Jet Black Archival ink, always. And actually, I also want to mask off that spot right here. To stamp again, this time a little higher. Like this. So now I have this beautiful soft edge, and I'm going to use a little bit of black, just a touch of black soot, and the water brush to create a shadow around that. Go. So it creates more depth. Before I glue everything in place, I want to add that cute little butterfly. So now it's time to assemble the card. I stamped this label again from the stamp set. It's actually a journaling block, and I'm thinking of adding this to the top. Of course, I'm going to cut that part off, but I think it will add some interest to the card, and I will stamp just a note inside this here. I will trim that with my paper trimmer, like so, and I will glue it flat onto the background. Right about here. Yep, that's what it needed. Ooh, I love that girl. She's not called Gorgeous for nothing. These stamps are so beautiful. There are still a lot of elements that I did not use from this stamp set. There's a border, different clocks. You could create a nice background with that. There's even a photo corner and two needles for, not needles, but two hands of the clock that you can use to stamp inside the clocks. And of course that bow. But I limited myself to the just these. I wanted to do, it's not a very quick card because there's coloring involved, but I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted her to be the main focus of the card. I love creating backgrounds with the distress stains or with that watercolor effect. Distress stains are awesome for that because it's vibrant colors. Love, love, love the drops of water. I'm happy with this card. Somehow I cannot picture a gorgeous stamp without black hair. But that's just me. I think she calls for black hair. But you could easily color her hair any other color to suit the person that you're giving it to. So I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. As usual, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below. And I will see you on Friday.